Do you have zero connections in politics because your family worked a normal job and didn't work in governing the country? And do you feel that that's holding you back from getting a position in parliament? One of the things for the Barcaldine Academy is that all applicants put in, or they answer the question, what do you feel is the biggest barrier to you getting entry into politics? And I was surprised just how many people said that I don't have any family connections. I guess because I don't, I just assume that's the default case, and if you're a nepo baby, you just happen to be lucky. But a lot of people said, no, I feel like I'm really held back because I have zero connection I'm a filthy little mudblood. I have no connection to the party, whereas I know people that are getting connections quite quickly through their family ties. I am not convinced that it's necessarily an asset, but I don't think it's necessarily a liability either. We'll break through the pros and cons of being connected versus not being connected and land with a couple of places that you can go to in order to compensate for the fact that you might not be well connected. The first thing is that in terms of framing it, there is a definite way that you can frame not being well connected as a huge asset to you. The first one is just the obvious outsider status. No one likes a nepo baby. I've told this analogy before. PY loves to ping me on it because he feels I tell it incorrectly. I used to be part of a soccer team in my local area that went on to have very moderate localized success. And when we see that team training, because they train where I play my weeknight soccer, I often like to point out, hey, that was my old team, just letting you know. And people goes, it's not your old team. So many evolutions have happened since you were in it. But I got dropped from that team, and the person who replaced me was the coach's son. And I like to tell the story, I was part of that team, and I got dropped for the coach's son. The story, the detail of that story that I leave out is the fact that the coach's son was actually a much better player than me, but I just leave that one out there. Because as soon as I say I got dropped for well-connected person, the concept that he might have gotten there on merit and that I might have been dropped on merit doesn't occur to people, and so they like to make the assumption that clearly connections and nepotism has overtaken there. And so the thing that any nepo baby is going to have to overcome is the fact that they are there on merit and not there because of their connections. It might give them a short-term advantage to getting that position, but they'll constantly have to prove it. This has even been the case for many a well-connected Labor politician of the past. Like you think of Kim Beazley, you think of even Bob Hawke, like you might forget this, but in the 1960s, you had to shirk the label that he was Albert Hawke's nephew and stand on his own 2 feet. That is something, if you are not well-connected, you never have to prove yourself beyond what a reasonable person would to get to the position that you're in. The other thing as well, you don't carry any baggage from your family. Believe it or not, there are actually applicants, more than one applicants to the Barcaldine Academy. When I asked them, like, what's your biggest barrier to getting into politics? They said, it's actually the fact that my family's been involved in a scandal in the Labor Party. So my name has just such a trashy reputation within the party. And so if you don't have any connections, be thankful you don't have anything like that hanging over your head, because that is a much more messy and delicate situation for those people in that situation. As well, there's no expectations. Like if you came to your own conclusion and you wanted to be involved in a different faction to what your family member was, you don't have to manage the baggage of misplaced expectations there as well. However, there are a number of benefits that being involved with a politically active family can bring you that are very informal. The first one is that you get a plethora of access to mentor figures. I've spoken quite closely with someone who had a major, also I won't reveal their identity, a very high profile Labor person. Top tier, like not just your average local member, and just the number of incidental conversations that person's able to have with people of just, ex-family member teed me up with this person, and I got to chat to this person at this function, and this is what they had to say. I'm like, I would kill for gold like that. So obviously there are huge informal benefits, and you would hope that a nepo baby can leverage that to their advantage and use it effectively. Because at the end of the day, like nepo baby is such a harsh term. Nathan Cleary, he's technically a nepo baby, but he's also the best NRL player right now. So, but he's only getting selected because his dad's the coach. But that's the thing that can very much work in favor of nepo babies. It's access to very good mentor figures that are top of the range, cream of the crop. You do just pick up an informal political education. Think about all the lessons that your dad's passed on to you. And if you're people like me, it's like just useless tips about how to improve your golf swing that I haven't been able to action whatsoever. But imagine just being broken down of, okay, this is how this faction of the party works. This is how this sub-faction works. Realistically, when they ask for this is what they're demanding. At the conference, this is how it plays out. But actually, like, just imagine years of wisdom being able to be passed on to you in just informal conversations or while you're driving onto your family holiday or whatever. Usually that will come with a sense of factional affiliation. I said it might be a disadvantage before because it could be the baggage of misplaced expectations. It also could be an advantage because immediately you get safe access to where there's safety in numbers, and you could have the advantage of pre-vetted trust. So whereas the nepo baby has to prove their own credentials and that they belong there on merit, they can also benefit from just pre-assumed trust as well. Now, if we are not Nepo babies, how can we substitute that informal experience or those informal connections that they're able to pick up that we don't have? And how are we able to, like, we the punters, how are we able to use that to our, I hate that phrase with a passion, how are we able to use that to our advantage? A couple of reasons why. A couple of reasons as to how we can do that. Let's think about how do we get a good mentor figure. The first one, I think, is to basically just make yourself as useful to one particular person as possible. Pick someone within the orbit that is achievable to get access to on one-on-one time. Could be a local member, could be just well-connected person in the party, and make yourself as useful to them as possible. I think there's a misconception that when it comes to networking and building contacts, like there's this very transactional model of you go to your event, you schmooze, you do your rounds at a cocktail party, whatever, and pick up as many names, as many it's useless, right? It's so disingenuous. It's a two-way street, and everyone knows the game, and everyone's just there to further their own ends by basically using each other to their own advantage. So everyone's guarded. You're not getting deep access to any particular person. What you want is imparted wisdom given to you. And the way that you do that is you start by making yourself as useful to a person as possible. The more useful you are to them, the more they're going to give you of their time. And so the easiest way to do that is to volunteer for an MP. Again, that MP might be a dud. You won't know that till you try it. And then once you're in the door, then maybe you can get access to others if you start to come to the realization of that my MP is a bit of a Fruit Loop. Don't think I'm going to glean too much wisdom from them. But then you've got the campaign trail as well, where you can make yourself as useful as possible. If you are able to make yourself as useful as possible, that gives you quality time, and that gives you the possibility of then getting that access to get that wisdom. So when you think of like, how do I get access to key people, really don't think of mingling, working the room, particularly because most of us here, you're watching a video on like very localized branch labor politics. I'm assuming you're not just a booming extrovert. That I think is a far more effective technique to gain real connections than just to work the room. I still have no idea how to work a room. That's never been, if I'm at a party where I don't know people, it's still my worst nightmare. Anyway, moving on. When it comes to factional protection, you can do the Kevin Rudd route of being unaligned. It is widely not recommended because there is just safety in numbers, and factions are a channel to get things done. It's like, if caucus comes before parliament, then your faction comes before caucus. And if you take the principle that Labor worked out in the 1890s, which is if we vote as a bloc, we get done what we want to get done, and we're able to be far more potent in parliament, bringing a bloc before parliament like caucus makes a lot of sense. Bringing a bloc before caucus like factions makes a lot of sense as well. And so it's worth figuring out where you want to go and investing in it consistently. If you have questions about factions, the Barcaldine Academy has lots of people that are very helpful. It's one of the most, I'll show it in the next video that I'm going to upload tomorrow. It's one of the most commonly asked questions in the Barcaldine Academy. It was, this is my state, help me navigate the factional landscape here. And people, even if they're not part of that faction, are always very helpful in getting people connected and able to invest in it properly. Now, the final solution is the Barcaldine Academy. That is absolutely a way that you can plug knowledge gaps. And the reason why is that it gives you the entire history on your state, unless you're Tasmania or the ACT, sorry, that is coming, but it gives you the entire history on your state. So it gives you that very localized knowledge, as well as the fact that it gives you all of the connections that you need. Again, there's well over 100 people in the Discord. It's a very active Discord. It's constantly popping off, and people, there's all sorts of categories as well. You can find exactly what you need to find and the connections that you need to find by going into the Barcaldine Academy. Application to join a below. I'm about to open up a whole bunch of new spots, so make sure you chuck in an application because I just reached out with my last intake recently, and we're about to do another intake soon. So do make sure to put an application in. And the other thing as well, if you're looking for access for key people, is the fact that people are, I've mentioned this before, we've had people that have been pre-selected that have run in campaigns before. We are now starting to get people that are getting pre-selected for the next crop of elections coming up. You can see it right there. It's not me just making that up. We have people, obviously, I've got to block out all key details to protect their identity and to not jeopardize their election. But we have people that are getting pre-selected, and we have people getting staff for positions as well. So do make sure to make use of that absolute river of knowledge. Very useful people. If you do have aspirations to join a Labor Party, it is just the easiest place to get as many connections as possible and to get quality contact and quality time with people. And also, the other thing as well is people are very charitable. It's not even the transactional thing. If you've got to make yourself useful to them, people are very willing to answer questions and give up their time to help people in the party as well. So applications are there. Join the Barcaldine Academy. If you are, like me, a filthy little mudblood, there is hope.